The Addicks lose a tough one in North Wales as the injuries and illnesses keep on growing. Hi there, welcome in to the 28th episode of the From the Valley Floyd pod. My name is Callum. I will be your host. It's a Sunday night. Sometimes people come in, sometimes they don't. So we'll see what happens. But I don't want to be here too long. I'll be doing the Chronicles later. It's not necessarily a game I massively want to spend lots and lots of time on. I don't think we learned a hell of a lot from it. I think that the team was sort of stitched together by who was available. I do think it opens some questions about squad depth, squad building, some of the things that we did or didn't do in the summer. But I'll just take half an hour or so, chat through, and then hand it off for the last international break until March. Things get quite difficult heading into pretty much non-stop 3-game weeks, 2 or 3 game weeks in December and January. So the first thing I want to chat through is the goal, right? The Wrexham scored. It's a moment of madness, as the manager said. It was a moment of madness, a moment of stupidity, a moment of idiocy, whatever you want to call it. And I get that we're playing a left wing back who's not a left wing back. And it looks as if he's looking around a bit and doesn't know where his man is, which is one of the first things you're taught as a left back or a left wing back. And he panics. And his hand goes up. It reminded me a little bit of Richard Chin at Stevenage in the Cup, if anyone remembers that goal. Nobody in the ground noticed it, I think, maybe other than George Dobson. And I guess the linesman who gave the penalty. No, there's no excuse, Paul. I'm sure we'll talk about it on the Chronicles later. It's just really stupid, and it, was it offside in the build-up? Well, the highlight shows don't want to show me a replay. I can't find a still anywhere which shows whether it's onside or offside, which is really bothering me. I've got ITV going great spot from the ref, and it's not the ref that's even given it, it's the linesman. Why on the ball coming across, the linesman 10 yards behind the play? I don't know. I don't understand. But I just want to be really clear that the linesman isn't the reason, the referee's not the reason, this moment of stupidity even isn't the reason we didn't win that game today. The reason we didn't win that game, as has been true for almost every game that we've lost, but I think really bar Preston, is we didn't take the chances that we created, right? We created 3, 4 gilt-edged chances, and Okonkwo made some really fantastic saves. Fair play to the lad. I didn't think he was making the step up. Proved me wrong. But I cannot tell you how frustrating it is for us to be unable to convert these opportunities. Hi, Sam. Paul's in here as well. It's a bit of a therapy session. I'm going to try and keep it as positive as I can. As I say, if we'd taken the chances, we wouldn't have been in the position where, whether it's offside or onside, or whether it's a moment of stupidity, and it wouldn't have mattered. The first chance, it's actually a good shot from Kerry. It's a difficult angle. It's a save you think the keeper should make. Really, slides through his hands. Kante's there on the back post. Doesn't get there. Okay, that can happen. But if you're a striker trying that everyone has been telling me needs to start every week, that has to be going in the back of the net. That's the first one. James Bree, 28 minutes in or so. Ball comes straight across the box. Open your body up, put it in the corner. Right? Hits it right at the goalkeeper. Another good save from Okonkwo, don't get me wrong. And I get that Bree was injured, and we'll get into that. That's another one when you go, okay, it's maybe a 3/4 chance. Doesn't finish it. The final one's Harvey Nibbs, and this is the worst of the three. Because he's 8 yards out. This is a player that when we bought him, and I was really excited if you go back and listen to this pod historically, I was really excited when Harvey Nibbs came in because I thought he brought that finishing ability from Cam. Against Derby, he's missed a chance that you would expect him to put away. That's 2 points. And yesterday, he's missed from 8 yards out. I think, again, the keeper actually might get a touch on it, and it's a wonderful save if he does. But you're 8 yards out. He panics and spoons the shot. At this level, you can't do that. Because when you miss those 3 chances, you go in at half time and you're going, yeah, we should be leading. We feel good about ourselves. They come out and absolutely slam the door shut on us in that second half. We could not get out. And we're playing with players that we then find out had chest infections and flu and injuries. And some of the choices made with the injuries are just baffling to me. And I don't criticize Nathan Jones on this podcast. I'm not a tactical expert in the way that he is, and I'm not a squad building expert the way that he is, right? But something has gone horribly wrong where we're playing a right back who's got a groin injury and can't take a set piece when one of his biggest abilities is being able to take a set piece. Right? And so my frustration with that game is not that, yes, I want to see the still back and see if it was offside. I think I'm a fan like anybody. But that's not the reason that we lost that we didn't win that game. It might be the reason that we lost it if it's offside. And, I moan all the time about linesmen nowadays being told to be behind the play. They're always behind the play. I don't understand why that is. Is it fitness? Is it, I don't get that. But they're always behind the play. One of them's always behind it. I think it's so they can get up and down. But the problem is that the ball goes to both sides. So what I learned from today is the thing that I already know about us, which is there are going to be games where we're not clinical. And in those games, if we can't get a clean sheet, we're going to struggle. Right? And I understand there's a lot of things that Nathan Jones said that I don't think are excuses. I think they're true, right? I mean, we haven't won up there, and I think it's about 11 attempts. So it's a historical thing. I don't think we scored in our last 4 trips up there. But it's more than that. It's like it's the same problem. It's the same thing repeating. It's the November injury crisis again that hits us, and you're just sort of, it's preventable. I think some of it was preventable in the summer. I don't understand, and maybe someone can explain it to me who knows this stuff. But I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't understand the rationale of having your backup left wing back be your starting left centre back. And not only that, but he himself is susceptible to muscle injuries. So then you just don't have cover there. And to make that worse, your 4th choice centre back, 5th choice, I guess, is a guy who's going to miss a quarter of the season in a good year. And then we add on to that a clear falling out that Nathan Jones has had with Rob Apter here, and I sort of understand it. Rob Apter threw a temper tantrum when he came off against Hull, right? So I do understand it, right? It's not particularly professional, but needs must sometimes. And if my right back has a groin injury and can't take a corner, as a set piece specialist, we get a free kick 20 yards out. Would James Beard have taken that yesterday? How on earth can you expect him to play through an injury that stops him from kicking a ball from a dead spot? Like, yeah, I mean, Miles is, the Miles, I don't know if anyone's heard it, and I would recommend you you listen on Corley Substack and go and support Corley. I'll always track him out here. The content is fantastic, and he's an even nicer guy. If you got any questions or anything, if you're on the sub and stick it in there, he'll try and answer to the best of his ability. Can't recommend that $5 a month enough if you can afford it. But Nathan was asked about Mosley because I don't want to talk about it. Why? Right? All you're doing there is putting pressure on it. If it's just because he's got injured and you're irritated he's been injured, that's one thing. If it's because he's turned his ankle doing something stupid, that's something different. But if he's not going to tell us, then why approach it in the first place? And then why confirm it was an injury? I just don't understand it. And I think it's one of those with Nathan where sometimes he doesn't know when not to say something. I just... Joe Rankin Costello, right? Even at right back. We didn't have a fit right back. We have a right back on one leg and we got two right backs on the bench and you're not going to play them. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Right? Like, and what makes it so frustrating is it's not even like we played that badly. Right? So you've got the combination of crazy decisions in my eyes. Personal sort of relationship issues, when you've told us that you're going to have a no whatever heads policy. And now and now we've got an issue with injuries everywhere. So, I'm not sure how to come. I tried to come on here and be analytical and explain things, and I'm not sure how to analyze that. Somebody was, we were the better team in the first half, Stuart. I think I heard someone was saying earlier today that basically the injuries and the illnesses caught up to us, that whilst we were kind of getting through it, we were able to, we were dominant. And then basically, if you've ever done anything with flu, you might be able to do it for an hour and then you just completely give up. I was sick earlier this week. I barely got out of bed, right? So the players had what I had, right? I understand it. I'm not even blaming specific individuals necessarily. Yeah, I'm really annoyed about that Nibs miss because that never should be being missed from 8 yards out. Not for a player that is a top level League One player at the very least. You're 8 yards out. You're playing against a goalkeeper that was in League One last year. You've got to finish it, right? And you compare that to Luke Berry creating something out of what was a decent cross from, that's harsh on Sonny Carey, actually. It was a good cross on Sonny Carey, really nice cross. Luke Berry gets up there, beats 3 centre-backs our striker hadn't been able to beat all game in the air, except for one flick on. And, Okonkwo makes a wonderful save. That's the one of the three that I think, okay, fair enough. You know what? He's made a great save. There's not a heck of a lot you can do there. Right. I'm gonna have a few seconds to have a because Sam said he went to go see the Charlton women. Congratulations to them for winning again today. As I've said on this pod, my hope is that we'll have the WSL back at the Valley. And also, if you want to find out more about the women's team, please go and look up Tom Archer's content. Far, far better on it than I am. I know a couple of guys do go every week, and fair play to them. The women's team are doing really well at the moment. Yeah, he definitely shut down all conversations regarding the squad. Do you feel he's doing the same? Yeah. I want to reword that, Sam, because I can't really. If you reword that question, I just can't really understand it. The injuries have to be answered. Should have been the number, especially not even at Xmas. Yeah, I mean, as somebody made the point, what on earth was Will Abbott doing? Because ever since Will Abbott's gone, everyone's getting injured. Right? I don't know if it's that simple. I don't even know if we've replaced Will Abbott yet, and I don't know if they've announced that we have. But we're getting so many injuries all of a sudden. I get it. It does happen this time of year, and we're in a position now. We've got 2 weeks off, and the hope is that we saw Josh Edwards is basically back on the grass in that sort of traitors video. We hope we'll have Godden back right after the thing but at least, I don't understand Stewart's and the thing, and don't think he's gonna be great in the championship, and I understand why he wasn't. He was a bit part player for Coventry last year. But Godden, I think, he finishes that chance Nibs had, but without too much trouble. In fact, I think there's quite a few players in the squad that probably would finish that. It's a pretty shocking miss with the goalkeeper on his backside. Yeah, no news, Ari. Josh. I mean, Josh, from what we saw, was back on the grass. Stuart and Manny should be back after the break, which is big. Bill, that's a hamstring, isn't it? That's a minimum of a month. Could be longer if it's a tear. We don't know if it is or isn't. Won't find out from Nathan. Goddard is in the last bits of his. He said it himself on Talksport, didn't he? Goddard. He's got a. He's back doing fitness and conditioning, so but really should be November. He don't want to be back from that for that Coventry away game. I would make the assumption, but God knows. And the thing with Burke is you never know, right? He could be doing a recuperation thing on the treadmill and pull another hamstring. So, I don't understand why we've been being reliant on players with that sort of injury history. In fact, I do. I think it's to do with the fact that they were the best quality you could get. Thing I really don't understand is what Rankin Costello has to do to get a game as a proven championship player, and what's happened with Rob Apter. We should have some clarity on that. It was a big call to start at people, it's true. And, he gave us all for an hour. Was he out of his depth? Yeah, slightly. I actually liked his tackle that got on the yellow. I think he was trying to sort of say, I'm here and I'm not afraid of you, which actually I appreciated. But he looked a little bit out of his depth, and that was going to happen. He's an 18-year-old kid, right? That's not a criticism of Ibby Fuller. The last thing I want to do is criticize an 18-year-old with as much talent as he has, and the good head that he really seems to have on his shoulder. But he should be playing, bit of part roles and getting used to playing at this sort of level. Yeah, surely can't be a coincidence. The Abbott effect is real. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just read it and I thought it's an interesting point someone made. I think you'd have to be a miracle worker though to keep both Bell and Burke fit for an entire season. That just seems to be something neither of them have done for multiple seasons in a row. Following the Nibs signing, when it was told the media he failed his fitness test, and the next day we signed him. I don't know. I mean, Nathan doesn't tell us anything about injuries anyway. I don't know if he failed it. I heard it was to do with the fact that Reading wanted more up front. It was a financial thing rather than anything else, and they pulled out, and he got upset with them, and then we came to an agreement based upon the fact they didn't want to keep an upset player who could leave for free in 6 months' time, whatever it was. So I'm not sure it's an injury thing. Really, he looked very, very rusty. Harvey Nibstani's looked very rusty all season. He looked okay on Tuesday when he came on. I thought watching on TV, people on the ground said he looked actually pretty good. So, we can go with that rather than me watching on a screen. But I didn't think that he looked very good at all on Saturday. And he still got himself into that position. You've got to put that away. You just have to put it in the goal. Apter for me is simple. He didn't backtrack for QPR's first goal, and then a poor first half for Millwall, and then along came Bree. Yeah, I mean, Stuart, I don't disagree with you. I think actually part of it, and I'm sure I've made the point on here or on the Chronicles before, is basically you couldn't play Apter and Burke together. So once Ramsey got himself sent off against Millwall, because Burke can't cover that much space because of his injury history, he had to bring Bree in. Well, then Bree has been pretty much undroppable. But actually, I think over the last couple of games, Bree has sort of fallen off, and I'll make the point later as well. For some god unknown reason, Emma's made the decision to let me host the Chronicles, but One of the one of the things with it is I actually think that that whole game, him walking down the tunnel, right, he was given an opportunity, and he was unlucky not to get an assist because Tyrese Campbell gets robbed by even Panda, fair enough. So he's probably frustrated. He came on after an hour. It wasn't like he wasn't played for, I think, maybe been 65 minutes, right? He was given a good run out. And he came off the pitch, went straight down the tunnel, and basically looked as if he's having a little bit of a strop. And I don't think Nathan Jones likes that at all. When we scored the goal, no one noticed the carry. There was no Apter wasn't one of the ones that ran over. You do see Lee Burn over there. You do see a couple of subs. You didn't see Apter. I don't think you see Joe Rankin Costello in there either. And I think that probably tells you a bit of a story. But yeah, this is why you have to wait your opportunity. There would have been an opportunity there today. There probably would have been an opportunity there on Tuesday if Apter had, kept his toys in the pram a little bit. And he's 22. He's going to do silly things. It happens. But you've got to be professional because, professionalism matters in sport. And you've got to make it about the team, not about you. And I understand that he feels aggrieved. I would feel aggrieved in his position. But I just don't think it's a great look. Right? I don't think it's a personal vendetta. I think that it's one of Nathan Jones's core rules. And I think he broke that. And so I think it's going to take a long time before he gets back in the squad. And I hope for him it's better than what happened with Alex Mitchell. And so it's just kind of where we are with it. There's not much I can do about it. I don't think Doc got dropped. I think he was being rested. But one of the things I make about Doc is we were getting dominated in that second half in midfield. He brings Doc on and we got even more dominated. I don't know if Doc was sick. I think Doc's been off the boil for, at least since the whole game when he moved position. Give me 1 sec for a cough. Sorry about that. I'm still working through the end of my illness. Breeze isn't fully fit after the break. Nathan Jones to start the Rapture. I think. I mean, it's not whether I think that he should or shouldn't, Paul. I don't disagree. I think there's a reason why he didn't do it. But Ramsey is now having to start because Burke is injured. So you're gonna have to. I think you. If Bree isn't fit, you're gonna have to pick one of them. It's gonna have to be JL. So it's gonna have to be Apter. I understand, and maybe we'll chat about it more on the Chronicles. But I understand the reason why he doesn't want to play Apter and TC, for example. Edwards being back, I think, probably helps you get Apter back on that side. And even JLC is a very attacking right back when he plays. But the reason why you don't do it is because we turn into, I call it a false three. When we attack, we don't quite go to four at the back, but one of those fullbacks stays back, which allows Coventry to push up. The problem you have with an Apter there, for example, and a TC, is the player that normally waits to go back is Bell when he was fit. Or I guess it will be Edwards, right, who did it before when Bell was playing at left centre back. The issue you've got is that if you have two attacking players, no one's going to drop back. So that means Coventry has to drop back, and that means that you're out of sort of phase, out of shape. So I think that's why he's not doing it. But when I'm 1-0 down, I need to be a little bit out of phase. I'm chasing the game. So sorry, I probably got the cough. I didn't press the button. But I think that's why it happened. I just don't understand the squad building in that sense. Surely one more fullback. And to make it worse, we're down to one left wing back. Jamal Lewis is available. He goes to Preston because we were too slow. Right? Short-term deal would have cost us literally next to nothing. Right? Instead, we signed Ono Hernandez, who's not a left wing back. It's a left winger. And we saw what happened when you play a left winger at left wing back. Madness to me. It's just, I just think it just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it does to one of you guys, but to me, I just don't. I don't see it, and this is probably the first pod I've done where I've been critical of Nathan and, anyone that thinks that I won't be where I need to be. I will be. I'll be critical of the club or whatever it is. I think in terms of squad building, especially at fullback, we've been negligent. Um, yeah, I mean, Sam saying Costello has to answer questions as to why he's not been given the opportunity. JRC must be because of what he produced or doesn't in training, can be nothing else. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, it must be training. It must be. I mean, he was absolutely terrible in that Cambridge game in the cup, Jerry. It was absolutely dreadful. But so was Nibs, and Nibs was brought back in after a couple of weeks of Nathan Jones looking like he didn't want to talk to him. But if you're going to have JRC on the bench and never use him, just put Anderson on there, who you would use. Right? What is the point of having these players on the bench that you're never going to bring on? What was the point of Miles Lieben when he's injured sitting on the bench yesterday? Right? I just don't understand some of the decision making sometimes, and I want to be really clear. We're ninth in the championship. We're playing okay. We actually should have won the game yesterday, but we just, I don't know what it is. We just didn't. Yeah, I mean, Stuart's going, to be fair, we had two left backs and Bell and Josh. These both were real bad. But Bell was also our starting left centre back, Stuart. That's my point. Right? And then Edwards goes down, it's going to be until whenever. Maybe he thought we'll get through the last couple of games, we'll be okay, and then we can probably use Hernandez and combination of Hernandez, TC, Fuller, whatever it is, and until then. TC yesterday, by the way, looked absolutely knackered. Right? That kid has been played far, far too much. Right? And I'm not somebody who questions what TC brings to the side. I'm not somebody who shouts about lack of end product. I'm often referred to as one of the biggest quote unquote TC defenders, although I try not to have parasocial relationships with footballers. But yesterday it looked like a guy that has played God knows how many games far too young. And I think he needs a break. He's not going to get that because he's going to go with Jamaica. Hopefully they'll qualify. But what next summer? Maybe he signs a contract. We should sign a contract extension that we stay in the championship, and then he goes off to the World Cup, and then comes back, and we're just in a. I think he's probably played too much football. And I'm not sure how you fix that at the moment. I've seen the thing about Oluwafe walking off. Yeah, they both will be. So they both will be. He was asking if TC and Anderson have been called out for Jamaica, for those listening. Yeah, it's a tough one, this one. I'm trying to think of positives. I thought, again, Kerry's ball's great. I love the fact that you have Luke Berry still, despite even me thinking, is he going to be over the hill for it, still causing championship defenders problems, even at 33 as an undersized cam. I think any sort of worries about his legs going, I think, have probably been answered, at least in terms of short bursts. For his hope, I hope that Cambridge get promoted and he can go back there and have a sort of, if he wants to stop playing at 34, 35, have a sort of swan song. I think that would be perfect for him. But yeah, I mean, did anybody stand out yesterday? Not really. Kaminsky was fine. Lloyd Jones and Ramsey battling through those illnesses. Fair play to both of them. I actually thought they were both all right. It wasn't like Wrexham created a lot. Maka, there was one ball from Kaminsky, which was very funky to Maka and it kind of was a bit of a disaster. But, I don't think Maka was bad yesterday either. But beyond that, slim pickings. I thought Oluwafe was just lost. And I get it, he doesn't play up front by himself and he's better in a two. But that didn't work yesterday. And I don't know why it didn't work. I think that was kind of my thing. So much of it was a mess that, despite the fact we didn't play badly, I don't think that the tactical setup was right. Which maybe only makes sense in my own head when I say that out loud, but that's just, that's how I felt. I'm disappointed to lose specifically to Wrexham. I'm not the same way I was last year. I had a proper head loss after that game. I didn't think we showed up. But I think not all. I think some of their fans are incredibly sort of uh, what football sort of almost like football Americanized. You know, that thing where it's like constantly um they're constantly having to sort of say we're the best, we're the greatest, we're the best, we're the greatest, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I get all fan bases have people like this, but you know, I hate this circus comment that's been completely taken out of context. I just think it shows a real lack of, you know, being able to look at something that someone said that's actually objectively true. So, you know, I don't massively like losing to them particularly. I'm not sure. I ran in again into Paul Elliott on the train home, and you know, I let him know my thoughts about having a fourth row centre back who can only play 25. Um, I play 25, you know, 75% of the games, if that, in a good year. You know, and I told him my worry about having Bell at left centre back and also being my backup left wing back, and you know, he maintained the company line, and you know, I fully expected him to do that. And fair play to him for having the conversation with me. He's a very, very nice man. He's done a lot for, especially diversity at Charlton. I think you know that deserves to be. You know, he's a very, very nice guy. But you know, but there's only so much that you know he can. You know that they can really do, and you know we're in a that was a difficult one for me. I don't like going there. I don't like losing there. I think it's all a little bit. I don't know the word is. It's just it's not my type of footballing story. What's happening with Wrexham? I respect their fan base. I respect their history. I even respect their owners. I understand what you know. They spent a lot of money in a you know um, in a small town slash city. You know, and they've done a lot of really good work. But it's just you know that sort of story's not for me. And you know, I think that it just doesn't feel organic. As far as I'm concerned, and my sort of football stories are more organic than that. Right. Anyway, let me just check that for you, Stuart. I'm pretty sure they can qualify for the World Cup in this break. Yeah, they can. They're top of their qualifying group. Yeah, and they've got 2 games to play. Yeah. So if they win both games, they will qualify. So yeah, Jamaica can qualify. Because there's extra spots in CONCACAF now, of course. So I think all the group winners qualify. Just double check. Yeah, the group winners. Yeah, so in the third round of CONCACAF qualifying, the group winners will qualify for the FIFA World Cup, joining host Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Yeah, from the FIFA website. So yeah, Jamaica can qualify. Yeah, Paul Sanders through run its course. We'll see what happens. Right, I will be hosting the Chronicles, I think, at 8. So come join. It'll be fun. Yeah. And thanks for listening. Sorry it's not been the most uplifting of shows. And again, apologies for this cough. But yeah, I will grab a break, have a week and a half off. I'll see you all for a preview of Nathan Jones's favourite club, Southampton, coming down to the Valley in a couple of Saturdays' time. All right. All the best, everybody. See ya.